Namaskar. Hello and welcome to P Guru's channel. I'm your host Sri Iyer. We have a full slate of generals here. General Ravi Shankar, General Dushyant Singh and General Rajiv Narayanan. Let's welcome them, and we have a lot of content for you. First, please like this video. You're going to have one thriller of a ride. Let's welcome the good generals. Namaskar, gentlemen. How are you?
Namaskar.
Namaskaram, sir.
Namaskar.
And we are all fine.
And
And
we
we are all
have
fine,
the
yeah.
good generals joining us from all over India, and this is something that I really look forward to. We're going to try and make this a weekly affair. Whenever they are available and free, they will join us. I think General Ravi Shankar and I are committed to doing this every week at the same time, 9:30 p.m. So do set your clocks, calendar for this. Now let's start with General Ravi Shankar. Sir, you have put together a slide deck, and we also have a few videos to share with your viewers. Then we are going to throw it open for everybody to come in. And General Dushyant Singh, General Rajiv Narayanan, if you could just raise your finger like this, I would stop at that point and let you come in to add a comment or two about the slide deck. Over to you, General Ravi Shankar.
Thanks a lot. The truth is coming out. There's the first, what shall I say, considered article or analysis of Operation Sindoor. This came out in Rusi, and Rusi is not a airy-gairy, analysis. Can we go ahead? What is the content of this by Dr. Walter Ludwig? He says, despite, I'm going to read it out so that the context is clear, then we can discuss it. Despite Pakistani tactical successes, India appears to have largely achieved its stated objectives. Important, aim of war achieved. On the opening day of the strikes, the Indian Air Force demonstrated a credible capacity to identify and destroy terrorist-linked infrastructure in Pakistani territory, employing standoff weapons to deliver precision strikes. Okay, he's not talking of loss of Rafale Shafals. He's talking of it later. In the following days, operations expanded in scope, penetrating Pakistan Chinese-supplied air defense network to target select forward air bases for the first time since the 1971 war. All this has been done with great precision. While losses were incurred, he's mentioned them in the passing, and that's what it is. The narrative is changing now. The international narrative is changing. That's the most important thing. These must be evaluated against the scale and complexity of the mission. India has carried out a great complex mission. Point to note. Not simply tallied in isolation. It is not 6-0 or 5-0 or 1-0 or whatever people are trolling about. The mere fact that the Indian Air Force could strike targets under defended conditions and undertake follow-on attacks. So they were, you broke the defenses, and then the follow-on attacks demonstrates its capacity for coercive precision operations. Next. He says, arguably more impressive than the operation's reach was its restraint on the first day. This is something very important which people have to understand. Pilots operated under strict rules of engagements that prohibited initiating attacks on Pakistani aircraft or preemptively suppressing air defense systems. Virtually in this, it comes out that India was going into this operation with one hand tied to its back. The decision to accept heightened operational risk in order to confine the conflict strictly to terrorist-linked infrastructure is telling. These are strong words which are coming out as part of an analysis, a considered analysis. Then some Indian aircraft were lost on the opening day of the operation. Some Indian aircraft were lost on the opening day of the operation was a direct consequence of a consciously limited rules of engagement. In effect, India accepted the heightened operational risk in pursuit of clear strategic messaging. Very important to understand. We were prepared to take losses, but we had to reach our objective, and that was done, and now that is being recognized. Instead of attempting to concretely link the terrorist incident to agents on the Pakistani state, the Indian government has taken the view that a failure to control or deny space to terrorist groups on Pakistani soil is sufficient to legitimate military action. Thus, India appears to have signaled a revised threshold for response, one that regional actors will have to factor into future risk assessment. So there's a whole issue of change of the complete scene and the complete rules of warfare with terrorism in the future. Few examples better illustrate Pakistan's long-standing role as a sanctuary for terrorist leadership than the discovery of Osama bin Laden in a compound just miles from the country's premier military academy. Preventing the next Sindoor or the next 2611 requires sustained international pressure to dismantle the networks that make these attacks possible in the first place. I think, yeah, Operation Sindoor should be remembered not as a dogfight between airframes. This is important because this is what the narrative is from Pakistan and China and their affiliates, nor as a stumble towards strategic instability. We avoided it. It was a calibrated use of force intent to signal resolve, degrade terrorist infrastructure, and demonstrate capability without crossing the line into the border war. And this is the crux of this article. I think we'll take the slide off. We'll come back later to other issues. I think this
Yeah. So
article is,
initial
yeah,
thoughts, sir. Yeah, if you don't mind, initial
yeah,
thoughts
please.
from the good
Oh, yeah,
generals. Yeah,
yeah.
and then I'll come
Right.
back to you, General Ravi Shankar. General Dushyant Singh.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with what General Ravi Shankar says. That right from the beginning, if we see the statements, whether of the military press conferences, military come civil press conferences which we were holding, that at every stage we were calibrating the operations. On the first day, we were very clear. We said that we will attack only, or we are attacking only the terrorist targets. In case if the conflict spills over to military targets, then that be so, and we would respond accordingly. So it was always the onus of escalation was being given to Pakistan and not to India. I think that's a very, very strategic move which India took in the interest of regional stability, as also addressing its own concerns. I would like to only add one thing out here, that uh, after this first day's incident, there has been a very concerted information warfare which was waged by Pakistan and the international media, which somewhere I think we should have done it. I did a cursory study of the response, the kind of responses which our diplomats abroad gave. I'm sorry to say that, barring the UK's ambassador, UK's High Commissioner, Indian High Commissioner to UK, nobody else has actually come out the way they should have come out after our Operation Sindoor. I mean, that is something which is a major lesson learned, which we have to do. Why? I mean, it's the foreigners who are trying to give this kind of a narrative to us. We should have done it ourselves through the international media. That was one shortcoming I would like to highlight, because it's always better to look at where we slipped. I think that was one big slip. Other than that, it was a perfectly operated, I always keep saying, a perfect military execution for the after a long time by the Indian military. Somewhere we diplomatically probably lost the
Thank you, General
initiative.
Dushyant Singh. So, what has happened is today, this news coming that Jason Miller and his group are now tasked with presenting India's point of view in Washington, D.C. This is today's news, just a few hours old. I just wanted to place that in context. I have been asking this for many, many years, General Dushyant Singh, and whatever you are seeing as a slightly more robust response in United Kingdom is also because of me and Pandit Satish Sharma egging the Indian High Commission there. God damn it, do something. This was 4 or 5 years ago in 2019. Sorry, I don't mince words. I don't have to say anything. So this is how Indian High Commission is a little bit more proactive in UK. Now let's go over to Rajiv Narayanan. General Rajiv Narayanan, your thoughts on this first thing. By the way, viewers, this is rusi.org. The documents link is also in the description section. You're welcome to go and click on that to get the full document. Over to you, General Rajiv Narayanan.
Yeah.
And it's again a UK based think tank.
Yes.
2 points. A, the last point which General Dushyant made, which we have been harping now, I've been harping now for over 3 years. We are very weak in narrative warfare. Unless you have your narrative in place, the diplomats are hamstrung, because if he has to say something, he needs a clearance. Now, that is also a major issue, that unless the ambassador or high commission has cleared it from the desk in Delhi, he cannot make these statements. So unless you have your narrative warfare in place already, it becomes very difficult for the diplomats to immediately start talking. That is the first point. So we are very weak in narrative warfare and information warfare. Number two, where I would slightly differ, why we were not talking about the casualties, which have been none. You, since the first day, you were not going to target, and you knew that the Pakistanis are going to target you. They will target you when you're firing the missile. And since you're only going against the terrorist infrastructure, you are denied the permission to target anything military. So how do you protect yourself? You had decoys in place, flying, representing various aircrafts. You had decoys for your Rafales, which gave the signature as if it is the Rafale there. You had decoys for your Sus, you had decoys for Tejas, you had decoys for MiG-29. And when they talk about 6 Rafales, yes, they hit those 6 decoys. And that is what went down. Now, you couldn't come out on the first day because you were utilizing it all through till the cessation of hostilities. And it is only now that they are showing it to the public that this was what was shot down, this was what was flying. So when he says there were some aircraft losses, they were decoy aircraft losses. And that is what some people have now come out and started laughing, that it is becoming, it was so easy to deceive the Chinese radars, who could not differentiate between a decoy and an actual aircraft. So that is how the whole battle was fought. And I repeat again, our shortcoming is the information warfare, the narrative warfare. We are very weak in that.
Thank you so much, General Rajiv Narayanan. Viewers, like this video, please, wherever you are watching it, Claws or Gunnershot or P Gurus, it's very important that the message come across. We just got started with the deck. General Ravi Shankar, you have 3 videos to play. Just let us know when you want to play what, and we'll be happy to do that. Back to you, sir, and then we'll continue this slide deck.
Yeah, you see, I go with both their views. But I'd like to, I'll come to the defense of the Walter Ludwig who's written it. Because when he wrote it, he didn't have the advantage of knowing that we use decoys. And I'm not going to talk of it because that's something I'm not going to talk in the public. That we made a ass out of Pakistan, Pakistan will know in due course. A donkey has to look in a mirror to know it's a donkey. If it doesn't look into a mirror, it thinks it's a handsome, it's like, it's like Shrek. So that's how it is. So that's the first part. The second part is, I have a slightly different opinion on this narrative building and all that. Pakistan has dominated the narrative war in the first 3-4 days, even by 1 week also, which passed after all. They've not dominated it, and a lot of people are now talking India has suffered losses and things like that. But the truth is coming out. Truth is, I believe in the power of truth. Truth you can't stop from coming out. It's coming out. And today I saw one of our MPs who's part of these delegations which have gone. I saw Mr. Patra. So, he's not the BJP Patra. He's from BJD. I'm forgetting his first name. Yeah, BJD. He's got a the way he's Sasmit Patra. The way he spoke made my heart fill with pride. Fantastic. Virtually, I mean, he spoke politically and Walter Lidwit spoke militarily, but the theme was the same. And the way he put it across to UAE, I thought it was fantastic. And I think this multi-party delegation which has gone abroad, and excellent now it's not only an excellent idea. I think it's beyond an excellent idea. These people are going and convincing people. It is not a military guy with a mustache like me going and talking, this is what they did, we did. These people are politicians, they represent the people of India. And that power of our political system is being exposed to others. And they're going to convince them and saying, look, this is it. I think this is a very powerful thing. And this narrative, as independent analysts start coming out and start seeing beyond those 6 Rafales, and they look at the final objective of being raised. And we done the world a service by knocking out all these terrorist headquarters. Didn't people know Muridke was headquarter of LET? Didn't people know that Bhavalpur was the headquarter of Jaish? Why why did they keep quiet? And these are two proscribed terrorist organizations with their headquarters in the UN list. Okay, and you go and hit them. And why doesn't the UN and everyone start talking about it? I think there is more to this. It will come out. We are only now seeing a turnaround in the way people are going to talk about it. And when you combine it with other losses, I think we are in a different space altogether. So I think we can start with one of the videos. I'm not going to talk. I've spoken a hell of a lot. With each video, I'll hand over my colleagues to talk about it. Here's the first video.
Yeah, China.
Yeah.
A question from Bloomberg News. An Indian military official claimed that China provided Pakistan with air defense and satellite support during its recent skirmish with India, and said that the Chinese weapon systems performed below average. I was wondering if the Foreign Ministry had a comment on his remarks.
你的具体问题呢，建议向中方的主管部门了解。我想告诉你的是，印度和巴基斯坦都是中国的重要邻国，中方十分重视中印、中巴关系。我们始终秉持睦邻、安邻、富邻、亲诚惠容、命运与共的理念方针，发展同所有周边邻国的关系。那么，印巴局势紧张以来，中方一直坚持客观公正立场，呼吁印巴两国保持冷静克制，避免局势升级。我们支持和欢迎印巴实现停火，愿意继续为实现全面持久停火、维护地区的和平稳定发挥建设性作用。
China couldn't have admitted in a more clear manner that our equipment was useless. So I would like any one of you to take it on from here.
General Rajiv can go ahead. Then I'll give my comment.
The classic example of
let him throw the bombshell.
weren't the apple sweet? You turn around and say, yes, the onions were very tasty.
Yes, this is a classic example of avoiding the question, by buttressing something else, and but I will take some positives out of it. You can see the change in the statement made by the Foreign Affairs Ministry of China. They did not say anything about mediation. They did not say anything about POJK or Kashmir. I think these are two big wins for us. We are not. We should promote these fine, funny points to our people, that even the Chinese are now willy-nilly not getting the J&K back into. Our whole aim is to dehyphenate this Kashmir issue with and they are with the Pakistanis are trying to rehyphenate it. I think that is one big lesson from the Foreign Affairs Ministry's statement of China. That would be one good, I would say, victory as far as we are concerned. Military victory, there is no doubt about it. I mean, the evidences are there for everyone to see.
Let me say,
Yeah.
wait. There's a very important point, which is in this, what General Dushyant said and what General Narayanan said both. You see, that dehyphenation between India and Pakistan, India and J&K and J&K Pakistan, that has all happened. There's a latent hyphenation in this. And that latent hyphenation is that in
India,
September, India-China BRICS. The BRICS summit is coming there. Without
Yes,
without India, there's no BRICS. Okay,
and
the summit is in
no China, and no China also. Okay.
See, the point is what we all talk of. What Rajiv was talking so forcefully in the initial days. There's a new superpower on the block, and let's not forget it. and that superpower is not China. Right? I mean, there's a bit of a hyperbole from me, but I think India has come of age. Right? It's not only BRICS; it's also SCO. You see, China is playing for broke. After all, yesterday only we discussed about his national security strategy, this, that, and all that. He wants to give an alternate vision to globe and all. Now, how can he fight with India? Right? So I think this is a very important video. It conveys a lot of things, and there are a lot of hidden things. Because, like we all know, you have to read what China doesn't say.
Absolutely. The leverage of India has come out very clearly in this video. That India does have a leverage with China. I think we should catch on to that point and take it further.
Over to you, General Ravi Shankar. So let's continue with the narrative.
Yeah, let's have the. No, fine. This is fine. So far, so good. Let's take the next. Okay.
अगर तू पानी बंद करेगा इंशाअल्लाह हम तेरी सांस बंद करेंगे इन दरियाओं
तुम हमारा पानी बंद कर दोगे हम तुम्हारा सांस बंद कर देंगे
Look, forget about everything else. This is a clear hyphenation, the way I look at it, between Pakistan and its terrorist organizations. I think Rajiv is itching to speak on this. Go ahead.
both of them have the same script writer.
Yeah, I mean,
both have been given the same script that you're going to talk this. The one chap was more forceful in saying it, and the other chap was more a bit of a pansy in saying it. He couldn't shout it out, not used to it. But it is nothing surprising, because that is what we have said, and which came out very clear in Operation Sindoor, that it was against terrorists, and the response came from Pakistan, means Pakistan is the terrorist state. And looking at that, it makes it very simple. There is a reason and rationale also why they are crying. Bulk of the people, more than 70%, survive on farming. Why 70? Forget 70% of the people. All the karta dhartas of the army and the political leaders are landlords. They are basically agriculturists. Now, if there is no water, what do they do?
yeah.
There's no food. You will have famine. And this is the season of crop. Your Kharif crop from May 14th to June 14th is the sowing season for Kharif crop there. There is no water. What is he going to do? That is his biggest one. That they don't even know what to do. They were trying to make a Mohan Dam in KP, but you are making another dam in Afghanistan on the same river, Kabul River. So that is the end of his Mohan Dam. So what is he going? That is the major issue. When people say that you should have continued to go in and destroyed him, no, this is a multi-domain warfare, and the best is you have touched his jugular vein, which is water, and that's it. You have closed the tap. That is the reason why they are screaming, because they know they can do nothing. So lift the morale of the people, saying you first. They said, if what I call him Billo Rani, you would have understood what too. He says that if the water is stopped, blood will flow. This chap says, if you don't give me water, I won't let you breathe. Little realizing that everywhere else people are up in arms, not letting each other province breathe, and especially they are up in arms against Punjab. So more than the Indus, now he has to sort this, and let us see how he manages that.
I would like to add here that the world should know that it took 9 years of negotiations to sign the treaty of Indus Water, and that too during the period of 1959, when Ayub Khan declared himself as field marshal, and in 1960 this particular treaty was signed. We are seeing a similar track, but the results will be different. This time the treaty will be most likely abrogated, not even held in abeyance, the way things are going on. And add to that, if we took in an era where we were very, very peaceful, Panchsheel was our, overall, moral high ground which we used to adopt. 9 years to to come to a treaty agreement. Imagine now where we have clearly declared that terrorism and Pakistan cannot be separated. It's no more that narrative has been busted. That narrative has been actually thrown into the nearest gutter, which is flowing next to Delhi. And the new narrative is that terrorism and Pakistan military are one and the same. So therefore, if we stop the water, or if we strike their targets, or if Hafiz Saeed is seen today anywhere in the open, he will be targeted and he'll be shot dead. Whether any means are adopted by us, whether aerial means, whether, I mean, I don't want to list any kind of means, that's part of the open overt war. It's no more covert war. We have said very clearly the perpetrators of terrorism will be eliminated. The choice, method, mechanism, leave it to our security forces.
Yeah,
Back to you,
there's
General
one more
Ravishankar.
issue. There's one more issue which I'd like to highlight about this Indus Water Treaty business. I mean, abrogation, abeyance, whatever you call it. Look, we have done the thing. The effect is going to be on the people, but the villains of this whole story will be Pakistan Army. You have to understand this now. 3 months back, the great Pakistan Army came up with something called the Green Pakistan Initiative. What is this Green Pakistan Initiative all about? It was about 6 canals being drawn from Indus River into the Cholistan Desert, and which was where to irrigate. And some of these canals are being made. They're being made. They're nothing. Even now, it's not being stopped. So, and these canals were to irrigate tens and thousands of hectares of land in about 3 or 4 phases. And each of this, each phase had about 10,000 hectares. It's not a small packet of land. And that land was sold to corporates. And the majority stockholders of these corporates were these Faujis. You see, it's a circle. Now, Sindh was virtually up in arms against this entire Green Pakistan initiative and this, canals which were being dug, even before Op Sindoor. There were a lot of issues, but now with Op Sindoor having come in and water coming back into the center stage, there are already problems in Sindhu, or rather Sindh. They're screaming for Sindhu Desh. And the problem is about water, and the problem is about Pakistan's army using this Green Peace initiative to acquire land and irrigate it. So there is a set of events which have started, which, you don't have to do much. You just have to talk of it. You'll really not stop the water so far. Things will happen. There's a... Yeah.
Even the way we going to use this particular abeyance into effect, that is very important. We may still give them their share of 80%. When we give it, that should be left to us. That itself is a huge kind of a response which we can make without firing a bullet.
The steps towards abrogation was started quite early, in the sense that it was decided to ensure that no water from Ravi and Satluj goes into Pakistan. There was a lot of water which used to go from the Ravi and Satluj into Pakistan. That was stopped by creating all the reservoirs and other local canals and all to prevent, so not a drop from Ravi and Satluj went. Byas in any case had been tamed. Now you started making your pushing for your dams on the Jhelum and the Chenab. So, some of the dams on Chenab have been successful. Now you're going ahead with the dam on Jhelum, which had been stopped, that Tulbul Canal dam and other issues. And that is when you decided that this is the right time, because I have stopped the water which was due to me from going there. I am able to do something on the Chenab, and I'll be able to do something in the short term on the Jhelum. And as far as the Indus is concerned, I'll have to look at it, because it will take me time to do something on the Indus. And that is when you have decided now that yes, now is the ideal time to push for this, that terror and water will not flow together and hold it in abeyance. The problem they face is that when you open all the gates. So he has floods.
That's why, I mean, I indirectly hinted at that.
Yeah, you open all the gates. So he has,
Yes.
it floods up his fields, and then you seal it up, there is no water.
And it's also not dependent on that monsoons mein karna hai.
Yes.
You know,
Whenever you want
Absolutely.
untimely release of water is
when
good
you want.
enough.
That
Is
is where
good
he is
enough.
going to face, because last year itself he had a shortfall of 21% when he was still getting all the water from Jhelum, Chenab, and Ravi and Indus. Today Chenab is dry. He's only got Jhelum left with him and Indus. And Kabul, he's worried that once you start making that dam and you may stop the water, Kabul, from coming into the Indus, then he's up a gum tree. And the Sindhis are up in arms against these canals because they're not getting water further down. Karachi
Yeah.
is getting bereft of water. So there'll be a shortfall of water in Karachi, and so they're up in arms against this canal, that it is against our water.
I was
Yeah,
the GOC in this whole area which you are talking about, both as a major general and as a lieutenant general. Let me tell you, Ichogil Canal has become a shallow drain.
Yes.
It's full of silt. It has no water whatsoever. The Satluj, you can walk across. There is no requirement. You
Nothing.
can drive your tractors across. There is absolutely no water. So we have achieved what we had to achieve as far as Satluj and
Even
Ravi
the
are
Gopalpur
Satluj.
canal is dry.
Yeah, and with the Baglihar, we are also affecting to a large extent the other Marala, Ravi Link Canal,
Marala
Marala
head.
etc.
headwork.
Marala headwork. So therefore, I
Yeah.
think Pakistan is not realizing what they are stepping into, and the more they try to raise up this issue of JNK, etc., for no rhyme or reason, they are going to suffer very badly. And this is a direct warning which I would like to give it to them, as having been in that part of the world, that it's not going to be simple for them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Dipalpur, there
there's
is no
another.
water because Dipalpur flows after the Ichogil canal to protect the
Yeah,
southern portion of their Punjab. There is no water in Dipalpur canal. And
absolutely.
both
Yeah.
the Marala and the main Indus dam, Punsa Tarbela
They,
dam, are at their lowest
they,
level at the moment.
they should realize that Rajasthan has become green right up almost up to the IBs.
Yes.
Now we don't find desert to shoot our movies. Do you know that? That's the
It's just
that's
that
the level
some
of,
Dananga which has been retained just
yeah, one or two
outside
places.
Jaisalmer,
One or
just
two
that
places.
stretch. That's it.
That
There is nothing
Yeah.
otherwise
else of it.
it's all becoming green.
Yeah, there's another angle to this
General
business
Ravi
of
Shankar,
water.
let's get back to our PowerPoint, because we still have a few slides to go through.
Yeah,
Because there
and
is an
I
important point here. We have to drive home how good in double quotes Chinese equipment is. Over to you, sir.
yeah, yeah, we'll get to that, but I want to make a point. There's another angle to the water which has so far not come out. All the CPEC projects are all thermal projects. They need water.
Water.
If water is not there, then they'll not get electricity also.
There's no
वो है
steam.
ना no steam,
Sir, basic
ना पानी, ना तेल,
thermal
ना
is
बिजली.
burn the coal, convert to steam, and drive your turbine. There is no water.
So
That's it.
Pakistan
Thank
is in a state. Pakistan is in a state. ना तेल, ना पानी, ना बिजली. चलिए आगे देखते हैं अभी. Let's see the next.
So let's get back to the PowerPoint presentation,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is from a Portuguese website. I picked it up today. Poor performance of Turkish and Chinese drones embarrass Pakistani military. So this is now coming out internationally. It is just not UK. I mean, I didn't know this is a Portuguese thing. Ye wo. Aage chalo bhai. Next. Okay. Now this is it. This is what they've said. The Pakistani army had inducted 3 drones designed by Chengdu Aircraft Industry Group of China in 21. However, they soon encountered a major technical lag related to the GPS functioning. Moreover, a serious fault in the high-performance synthetic aperture radar, nitrogen leakage from cameras, and a problem with SATCOM antenna turned the drones into a non-starter. Plagued by critical failures, the Chinese drones became an issue of major concern over reliability and effectiveness in Pakistan. Now, this has manifested it into the battlefield. Please understand. And this is what General Rajiv Narayanan and General Dushyant Singh and we keep discussing. It's not enough to have a drone from abroad. You need to integrate it into your system. You need hell of a lot of things. I think I'll leave the floor to
The
them.
main
We'll
issue
talk
when you
again.
say they have a technical snag related to GPS, most of the Chinese equipment relate themselves to Beidou. And they have an issue when they try to connect to the GPS. But the GPS is American system. It doesn't get uplinked.
And yeah, Dushyant.
See, I will not go into the Op Sindoor part of it. I will only try to reinforce this issue by an example from personal life. I was posted in America, Africa, a long time back, and there we used to get these Chinese stuff, in the market. So whenever I used to go to a dealer, he would say, "Sir, ये चाइनीज है, लोगे तो कल चलेगा, परसों टूट जाएगा, परसों ब्रेक हो जाएगा, आई हैव नो गारंटी टू यू, इफ यू वांट समथिंग गुड, टेक अ स्टफ either from India or Western countries, somewhere there." So that is the story which is playing out now. The ruggedization is one issue of the Chinese stuff, which I find is always weak. The second issue is what the connectivity issues, which General Rajiv Narayanan has expressed. And the third, and which is more important, which probably has not come out till now, is that these people were supplied with the stuff either by China or by Turkey in the last 10-15 days. I believe, and I'm not very sure, that the Pakistanis were not able to handle them at all. And it was basically the boots on ground from these countries which actually operated some of these equipment, which they again failed to effectively use it. So you can clearly make out the kind of a ad hoc arrangement which these people did to fight back our strikes which happened into Pakistan, and that's why we had a free run as far as our missiles were concerned on any target. We didn't have a single failure. Another issue which I would like to add here is that there is the story going out. There's some American author who has written about it. Yeah, no, sorry, the air marshal who has candidly accepted that the BrahMos missile which got accidentally shot into Pakistan, whether it got shot accidentally or whether it went by design, I am not aware of it. But the fact that it went and it could not be intercepted would have given a lot of lessons for us to prepare for what we did in Op Sindoor. So having the Chinese systems are failing, not now. They were failing from what 3 years back, when in 2021 this particular incident had happened. So there it is. I mean, there is no denial on the fact that the Chinese equipment is suspect, and the countries which are buying, they better be on guard for future.
The Chinese, it just goes to prove that the Pakistanis were fooling themselves from long. And this has been their trademark. Anyway, let's go to the next one. Right. Now, look, this is the net Chinese equipment which is there on, in various countries. Now, you look at the Pakistan. What Pakistan has is virtually, double of or equivalent to all the other countries like Nepal, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Myanmar, and Nigeria, Kenya, and more. I've not included it. The fact is, look at the Pakistan story. What I put in yellow at the bottom, PL-15, HQ-9, is what came up to the fore and failed during Op Sindoor. You look at the top. You're looking at the top. You're looking at a whole lot of things in the Navy. They've got a lot of submarines for the Pakistan Navy. They've got frigates for the Pakistan Navy. They've got a whole lot of other equipment which from China We just retrofitted on their ships and all which they got from other countries, even Turkey and France and all that. They're also prone to failure. You see the larger picture of the mess Pakistan is in. Like for example, look at it. VT4 tanks. Their delivery was halted due to poor build quality by the Pakistanis against Chinese. Okay. No, I mean just think of it. So actually, if you see, you let Pakistan go the way it is going in a matter of say maybe 3-4 years, it will not fight. And just think of the fact that if you have a defective equipment in your hands, which soldier will fight? I mean, this is something telling. And I out on the right, I'll not talk much. Nepal was given 2 aircraft which don't fly. Can you imagine? By China, and so on and so forth. So I would like both our experts to weigh in on this, which is a very important way of important data which you have presented here.
2-3 issues like Bangladesh MBT 2000. It is actually the Al Khalid which the Pakistanis have, and they are also facing exactly the same issue that Bangladesh is facing. VT4 is the modernized Al Khalid, which is there, and the deliveries got halted. In fact, since they were worried at around that time, we had signed for the next lot of T90. They went shopping outside and they bought refurbished T55 tanks and refurbished M113s from the Czech Republic and the Polish Republic. Romania. About 200 odd each, which tells you the problem they are in. When you look at the Navy, out of the 8 submarines, they have only 2 submarines functional. Rest, they don't have any spares available for repair and maintenance. Out of these 2 also, these are the old Augusta 70 and Augusta 90 submarine, which has maintenance issues, but they are able to drive it. So they took it away. Some say they went to Oman, some say they went to Gwadar. So the basic issue has always been, as far as China is concerned, about maintenance. They don't have the MRO sort of a concept within the Chinese PLA itself. They don't have it. Whereas if you're giving it to somebody, how are you going to sustain it? Obviously, they'll have all these issues and problems. There is no maintenance. There is nothing. They have not created. When you take any of these high-tech equipment, you have a proper system of daily maintenance, weekly maintenance, periodic maintenance, the half-yearly maintenance, the yearly maintenance, tests and checks and everything that needs to be checked. Don't we put our car into servicing every 6 months? If you're driving your own car, you're supposed to get it serviced every 6 months. Exactly the same thing. Cars is not as complex as these systems. They're nothing. Obviously, they'll fail, sir. Kahan chalega? And you don't have the trained manpower as far as Pakistan is concerned, who has the basic technology level available because of the radicalization of their education that has taken place. So how is he going to absorb any technology that is given to him? Difficult.
Yeah, Dushi.
Yeah, I mean, purely going by, I'll just give the counter side to it. Is that if you look at this list very carefully, as far as PL-15 was concerned, I don't think they gave them their actual version. That is one issue. The second thing is they have still not parted with their JF-20s, which is supposedly a little better. But the training issue which we were talking about is being faced by both China as well as by Pakistan. In the sense, Pakistan, because of their own doing, if the earth is flat, then everything will be flat. And if as far as China is concerned, the Chinese are finding it very difficult because of their conscription policy of 2 years, and people not willing to join their army. I'm not saying that they are they don't have the strength. We should be abundantly careful of our adversary to ensure that we do not suffer something similar what the Pakis have suffered very recently. But the matter of the fact is, we should also know their weaknesses so that we can hit them where it hurts them the most. So overall, I find this is a good analysis where we identify their weaknesses and try to keep it as a response mechanism against the Chinese as well. After all, we are going to why we are asking for more money and more budget in the defense is because our our threats have expanded not only to Pakistan and China but to Bangladesh, and also internally we find that a lot of people are inimical to Indian interests.
Yeah.
General
Yeah.
Ravi Shankar,
Let's go
back to you,
ahead.
sir.
Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead with the next slide. Yeah, next. Yeah, these are the things which other countries faced with Chinese equipment. I'll just read it out. Nigeria reported technical problems with F-7 aircraft. This was way back in 2009. Myanmar found Chinese-made radar on its
Hello.
JF-17 aircraft had very poor accuracy. Right? Bangladesh had problems with ammunition. They couldn't load ammunition into Chinese-built aircraft also. And just after, and this was immediately after delivery. Yeah, next. Next, please.
I got it. Yeah.
Yeah. So Pakistan, Pakistan has great problems with all Chinese ships. Everything about China, I think Pakistan will have greater problems. Now they are compounding all this by taking the J35 or whatever that nonsense is. Just think the state of Pakistan. Neither their air force nor their army, nor their navy, which is now 70% Chinese equipment, is not functional. Do you think they'll pose a threat to us? I don't think so. Yeah, next, any more? Well, then I'll take, what Pakistan faced with Chinese equipment. Cut rate pricing and financing, hidden costs, technological incompatibility, lack of expertise and training, which he was mentioning earlier, difficulty in getting replacement parts. Chinese suppliers have little accountability for maintenance or repair. And this, I'm sure I'll request Rajiv to talk. This is not a problem only with Pakistan, it's a problem in China also. Right? So I think, you take over, Rajiv, please. You are better at it.
Yeah, the China itself, the PLA has no concept of MRO like we have. You get into any equipment, there has to be a flow for your spares and other things and workshops available, and your own unit where you conduct your maintenance and spares, and you have fast moving spares are held at the unit level, workshop level and above, and there is a full chain available. I'll just give you the example of the PLAF. They have nothing available. If a battalion is the air battalion is supposed to have, fighter battalion is supposed to have 12 aircrafts, they give them four extra, and they say scavenge from this and fly these 12. That's no way to maintain. How are you going to fight a war with that? Because in war you will require more spares. Are you going to give him more aircrafts and say scavenge? Then how are you going to replace the aircrafts which have been shot down or who have crashed? Like, we also have the concept of delivery units where your equipment which has failed or which is going to be out of operation for more than 72 hours, you get a replacement equipment while that is being replaced and held with this thing. No concept of what we call the operational logistics. Now that same is getting replicated in these countries, and that is why they keep screaming that there are no spares. Because when you look at the logistic chain of Pakistan, which is very similar to the British, from which we have also evolved. Now, if he doesn't have spares, how does he maintain? And as far as that is where Pakistanis, I blame them. When you go to buy that, you got to look at it. How are you going to sustain it? Who's going to give you spares? Have you fed in that spares portion also into the contract? I don't think so. Because everybody up the channel is wanting to skim off the cream to nest his own, to feather his own nest. He's not looking at anything else out here. So then what do you do? This is what is going to happen.
General Ravi Shankar, we are done with the slide deck. Sir, we are done with the slide
Yeah,
deck.
good.
I'd like General Dushyant Singh to weigh in on this, and then we can go to the third video that we still have to show. General Dushyant Singh.
He is not there.
He's there. He's there. He's coming back. Sir.
No, what I want then, Doshi, what I want you to weigh in on, not on Pakistani equipment. After all, this same equipment is being held by China. Is there a case for us to start rethinking about Chinese capabilities and what do we do? I think that's something which you could weigh in on.
This point I already made in my last comment, to say that, you know, besides the fact that the Chinese are finding it difficult for their modern equipment to be manned and absorbed in their militaries, whether it is the Navy, Air Force, or the Army. The second issue is that they are finding it difficult to get manpower also, essentially because of the lack of motivation to join the defense forces or PLA. Mind you, I was reading an article, I think in SCMP or some other
2 days back, 2 or 3 days back,
portal, where they are giving so much of facilities to PLA veterans. Veterans means a guy who leaves after 2 years. Yet people are not willing to join. So that is the kind of problem which they are facing. So it's not only, and we said it very clearly, it's not only technology, it's the man behind the technology which is important. And I think we need to address that through the cognitive domain. And what we are probably trying to do is going to contribute towards that. One more issue I would like to make, and thereafter I leave because I've got a guest who just arrived.
Yeah, sure.
The issue about Pakistan. Now, Pakistan has also realized that, you know, they are having problem with the Chinese equipment, and that is the reason why they are actually overreaching to the Americans and trying to give Balochistan stake and minerals, etc. Donald Trump Jr. going there and trying to make a deal out of it, and 50 trillion potential, etc. All that is being talked about. They're trying to sell dreams to the Americans. The Americans may buy it, and in turn they might get some benefits from the Americans, because they are quite used to the American weapon system. That much we must realize. The Pakistanis are good at that. ANTPQ-37, they're very good. The F-16s, etc. They've done a lot of training. I've met guys in US as part of joint training, etc. And I realized that they are trying to do a little bit of I would say, playing both the guys. They are actually today they're trying to play both China as well as America. So all the best to them in this juggling game. Hope they are able to succeed. And I'll request all of you to leave me because I have some guests who's already sitting.
I just
room.
add one comment to that. They should know that riding the fence can give a very sore crotch.
that is something. Thank you very much. Jai Hind to all of you.
Thank you, General
Thanks a
Dushyant.
lot. Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah. What next?
So, sir, we have one more video. This is very
go
important
ahead.
because this is a Pakistani guy based out of United States. His name is Pirzada. I don't remember the first name. Let's take a look at what he has. Moin Pirzada. So let's take a look at what he has said. Just a 3-minute video worth every minute. Go for it.
न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स ने 24 घंटे पहले एक स्टोरी निकाली जिसमें न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स ने बताया कि हिंदुस्तान और पाकिस्तान ने क्लेम तो बहुत किए हैं एक दूसरे को हर्ट करने के, हिट करने के, लेकिन जो सैटेलाइट इमेजेस हैं मैक्सर टेक्नोलॉजीज के और प्लैनेट लैब के, वो ये शो करते हैं कि कोई बहुत ज़्यादा नुकसान जो है वो नहीं हुआ। और पाकिस्तान ने जो मिसाइल हमले किए हैं उससे तो हिंदुस्तान को कुछ भी नहीं हुआ। यानी हिंदुस्तान ने जो मिसाइल स्ट्राइक्स की हैं पाकिस्तान के अंदर, दो तीन किस्म के उन्होंने मिसाइल्स यूज़ किए। आपको पता है पहले उन्होंने मेरा ख्याल स्कैल्प यूज़ किए जो फ्रेंच टाइप के थे, जो एयर टू ग्राउंड थे, जिसमें उन्होंने 24 मुकामात को हिट किया आज़ाद कश्मीर में, पाकिस्तान में, बहावलपुर के अंदर, मुरीदके में। और वो सारे जो हैं जिन जिन बिल्डिंग्स पे उनको जाके लगना था, स्कैल्प एक्यूरेटली जाके उन्होंने हिट किया और हम कुछ भी नहीं रोक सके। उसके बाद उन्होंने ब्राह्मोस यूज़ किए जो रशियन और इंडियन ताउन से इश्तराक से बने, और उन्होंने जहाँ जहाँ वो मारना चाहते थे खासा प्रिसाइजली उन्होंने हिट किया। और पाकिस्तान ने किसी किस्म के सैटेलाइट इमेजेस नहीं दिखाए, जबकि हिंदुस्तान की आर्मी एयरफोर्स वगैरह ने अपनी ब्रीफिंग्स में वो सैटेलाइट इमेजेस दिखाए। बहरहाल न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स डिड नॉट रिलाई अपॉन दो सैटेलाइट इमेजेस। उन्होंने अपने सैटेलाइट इमेजेस लेके अपनी स्टोरी में दिखाए हैं, और वो मैंने देखे हैं बहुत गौर से। और सैटेलाइट इमेज दिखाते हैं कि बुल्हारी जो है, जहाँ F-16s होते हैं, जो कराची से कहते हैं कि 100 किलोमीटर 100 मील दूर है, वहाँ पर उन्होंने जिस हैंगर को निशाना बनाया, उन्होंने पहले का इमेज दिखाया हमले से पहले का और हमले के बाद का, और वो हैंगर का एक हिस्सा जो है बिल्कुल तबाह हो गया है। इसी तरह से उन्होंने नूर खान एयरबेस के ऊपर जो हमले हुए हैं वहाँ पे भी दिखाया उन्होंने कि बिल्डिंग कैसे डैमेज हुई है। फिर उन्होंने जो रहीम यार खान में हमला है वो भी दिखाया। तो जहाँ जहाँ उन्होंने 3 या 4 इमेजेस उन्होंने दिखाए हैं जहाँ रनवेज जो हैं वो इंटरप्ट हो गई हैं, जबकि पाकिस्तान साइड से ना तो कोई दिखाए गए हैं सैटेलाइट इमेजेस, और फिर उन्होंने उधमपुर के एयरपोर्ट पर जहाँ पाकिस्तान ने कहा कि हमने सब कुछ डिस्ट्रॉय कर दिया है, सारे नाकारा बना दिए हैं, ये हमारी स्टेटमेंट थी, मैं भी दोहराता रहा हूँ पाकिस्तान के पीछे पीछे, वो उन्होंने दिखाया कि उधम एयरपोर्ट के पहले के इमेज और बाद के इमेज हैं 12-13 मई के, और उधम एयरपोर्ट को किसी किस्म का कोई नुकसान उसके रनवे को नहीं पहुंचा। अब इसका क्या मतलब है? इसका मतलब है कि पाकिस्तान ने जो मिसाइल मारे हैं उनका इम्पैक्ट नहीं हुआ, वो एक्यूरेट भी नहीं होंगे, और ये कंप्लेन पहले भी थी कि मिसाइल हमारे एक्यूरेट नहीं है, तो उससे कोई खास नुकसान नहीं हुआ। अब ये वो बेसिकली सच है जिसको बोलने पे यहाँ पे हमारे यहाँ पर साइबर क्राइम के इल्ज़ाम जो है लग जाते हैं। इसकी बॉटम लाइन क्या है सारे एनालिसिस? इसकी बॉटम लाइन ये है कि हमें अमेरिका ने ये सीज फायर करके दिलाया है, हिंदुस्तान को उन्होंने धमकी लगाई है, हमने धमकी उनको कन्वे कर दी। जब हमने नेशनल कमांड अथॉरिटी की मीटिंग बुलाई, हमने उनको कन्वे भी कर दिया होगा कि जनाब हम तो बड़े सख्त अंडर प्रेशर हैं, हम न्यूक्लियर हो जाएंगे, क्योंकि हम डिनाई कर रहे हैं, लेकिन नज़र यही आ रहा है। और दूसरा उनको ट्रेड की धमकी थी, और यही वजह है कि हिंदुस्तान के अंदर बहुत ज़्यादा तन बदन में गुस्सा पाया जाता है। उनको लगता ये है, और वो नरेंद्र मोदी पे गुस्सा निकल रहा है, और ट्रंप के खिलाफ भी बहुत ज़्यादा गुस्सा निकल रहा है, ट्रंप की बड़ी गाली गलौज हो रही है हिंदुस्तान, बिकॉज उनको लगता ये है कि अगर हमें ना रोका जाता, 2 दिन 3 दिन हम और इसी किस्म की स्ट्राइक्स जारी रखते, तो हम पाकिस्तान का दिमाग जो है सीधा कर देते पाकिस्तान की मिलिट्री का। दिस इज़ व्हाट, अगर आप पढ़ें हिंदुस्तान के अखबार, आई डोंट नो पाकिस्तान के अंदर हिंदुस्तान के अखबार पढ़ने मुमकिन है, उनके ट्वीट तो आप देख सकते होंगे, तो आपको उनके ठीक ठाक आइडिया जो है उनका मिलता है। फोन से ब्राह्मा चलानी उनकी
Yeah.
Sir.
So, yeah, Rajiv, you're yours. He said the truth.
Not the complete one, because all the
Yeah, that's
11
okay.
13 air bases you targeted is all gone. Noor Khan is the nuclear command authority. They never met because you destroyed the bunker. So you destroyed the bunker on morning 10th. They were supposed to meet when the bunker itself is not there, and the complete command and control setup has been destroyed. What will you meet? And then I have covered it earlier, like you, I think Nucleus saber rattling. JD Vance may have come and said that they're planning to go nuclear. You destroyed the entrances to the satellite reserves. And that's what shook him up. And you also targeted 2 of his land bases and 3 of his air bases to tell him that, look, you may be having your warheads here, but I don't know exactly how to target this. Just try to take your aircraft off. We'll destroy it on the ground. And then you will be suffering all the radiation. That is how you said that we are not worried about the nuclear saber rattling. And while Trump may have said trade this, that, but it is history that it was the DGMO of Pakistan who rang up and wept and wanted a ceasefire. And then we gave him a cessation of hostilities till the 12th, and they broke that ceasefire on the 11th, that same 10th evening. It was supposed to be at 7 o'clock. They broke that ceasefire. So 12th, there was no talk. Then 13th, there was a talk. He tried to go diplomatic, and then he was told no diplomacy, just military. He came for military. Now, what Pakistan should be worried of is that cessation of hostilities period is over on the 18th. So now you're free. If he does anything, you're free to hit him. There is no cessation of hostilities at the moment. It's over on the 18th. So it's 5 days down the line. Other than the screaming and chanting and all the rhetoric, there's nothing much on ground.
Yeah.
General Ravi Shankar, just before I yield the floor back to you. Thank you so much, General Rajiv Narayanan. My 2 cents to unasked for advice for Donald Trump and his son, Donald Trump Jr. Look, the same mines have been sold multiple times to multiple companies. Okay, not a single dime has come out of it. The provenance of assets there is highly dubious. And now you want to do what? Blockchain? Assetization? Come on, you know a little bit about blockchain. Don't tell me that you can do that thing on a country where people are so poor and they don't understand blockchain and assetization. Don't just stop thinking about this. Stop having wet dreams. come back to reality, let things sort themselves out. And United States taxpayer is not going to just keep quiet, myself included. I'm going to be asking some tough questions. Yes, of the two, you are a little bit less evil for US. That's all I can say. Let me just get back to General Ravi Shankar, because I have been having this in my mind for a long time. Somehow somebody comes and sells them. Sir, as soon as Trump came to won the election, there were three, crypto coins. Suddenly they came, they had a valuation of billions of dollars, and then they just crashed down. It's just nonsense. You don't understand what it is. Just stay out of it. General Ravi Shankar, let's now bring it in. Conclusion from your side, sir, and then General Rajiv Narayanan. Then we have a lot of questions. I'm not sure how many we can take, and we are already 1 hour into it. Over to you, sir.
Look, what's happening is a turnaround, right? The truth of what's happened to Pakistan, what's happened to the Chinese equipment, what is this great, collusivity between China and Pakistan, and what's the efficacy of all this is coming out. And as this truth comes out, there's a larger realignment which will take place. And people will, have to rethink. We will also have to rethink in India as to how to handle this emerging situation, because certain realities have changed. People all over the world will also have to rethink. They give so much credence to China for what it can do and what it can't do. So they have to now rethink, what is this China all about? And maybe a day or two later, we'll talk of China itself, where China is. China is not in a great position. It's just not this stupid equipment. It's economy, it's politics. Yeah, but we'll talk of it on a different day. So there is a change which is happening, which we need to tune into. I'll not talk further on this. Yeah, all yours, Rajiv.
General Rajiv, have a sip of water, sir. Your throat might be running dry.
No problem. Don't worry. I agree entirely with General Shankar, and I'll just add my 2 penny bit to what you had said. I wonder how many congressmen made a lot of money when he did that stoppage of the 130% tariff on China for 90 days. How many of them were in the know before that was done, and how many of them made a killing in the stock market? I think this is the game that is going on with Trump. Making a killing in the stock market and making a killing on the blockchain, the cryptocurrency, which you had mentioned about. He's not looking at anything else. He's just looking at how to make himself richer. I'll rest you.
Thank you so much, sir. Now let's take a few questions, please. Bobji Krishnan wants to know, dear generals, may I ask you to please explain what territorial army is?
Look, it's very simple. Territorial army is something which, you have a paramilitary, it's like an army. Only thing, it's not embodied in that it doesn't exist under normal conditions. When there's a requirement, you call up those people, they come, they train, get together and fight and go back. It's a part-time army. Let's put it that way. That's it.
So I'll just give the little bit of history of when it was formed. They had initially the concept of reservists, and then First World War, they found that they could not manage the casualties, and they were had to control the population also in India, because the freedom movement was also on. So that is where this territorial army concept came in, that we will. Initially, it was supposed to be an auxiliary force manned by the Britishers and the Indians. The Britishers refused to work with the Indians. So it became an auxiliary British force and the auxiliary force of Indians, which was subsequently named as the Territorial Army. And like he said, it's part-time, like the American National Guard, which is part-time. You have got a civilian job. You come for 2 months for training every year to the designated unit that you have. And whenever you are embodied, that is called for duty. Embodied means you're called for duty. The battalion is called for duty. You come and do your duty and you go back. That is what is a territorial army.
Jayati Dasgupta wants to know, can the Taliban be considered a reliable partner following the recent meeting with China and Pakistan regarding the CPEC project?
Firstly, CPEC is a dead duck, dead and buried. China doesn't talk about BRI. He's talking of CPEC just to give a long leash to Pakistan. As of 2021, it has all been subsumed into Global Development Initiative. There is no talk of BRI these days. It's Global Development Initiative. Okay, so that's a dead duck. As far as Taliban is concerned, my enemy's enemy is my friend. So since he's Pakistan's enemy, I am with him to help if he's got to create some problem. As far as the CPEC project is concerned, Taliban has got nothing to do with CPEC project. China is looking at connecting into Afghanistan via the Wakhan corridor, which is the Wakjir Pass. A requirement at the base of Wakjir Pass in Xinjiang district has been made as far back as 2011. All their warehouses, the satellite connectivity, electricity, the integrated custom post, everything is done, road ready, everything ready, accommodation ready. They're just waiting for the Afghanistan to give the go ahead and they'll get into Afghanistan. Pakistan is having wet dreams that they'll come via Peshawar or Quetta. It's not going to happen.
General Rajiv, would they still have to go through the Aksai Chin area to get to Wakhan corridor?
No. Aksai Chin is much further to the east. Much further to the east. This is the Karakoram highway, which comes via Xinjiang.
But Karakoram highway, sir, Karakoram highway goes through Aksai Chin, doesn't it?
No. Karakoram highway
goes
through the Punjab Pass. Punjab Pass, and it crosses here. This is towards the Gilgit-Baltistan area.
Okay.
That is where the CPEC road goes through. No? That is the road. Whereas the other one is G116, which comes actually through the Karakoram Pass and gets into. Karakoram Pass is near our area, Daulat Bey Goldi. Ahead of that is that Karakoram Pass, and it goes further east of that and comes into Aksai Chin. So Aksai Chin is separated by the complete India. It is further to the east. So that is the Karakoram Pass. And here towards the Kashgar prefecture, and then from there the road comes down and gets into the Punjab Pass. The the southernmost province of Xinjiang, just north of Gilgit-Baltistan, is Tashkorgan, which is actually Tajik predominant. The road goes through that. And where the Wakhan corridor has come, at that in the middle, there is the Wakjir Pass. And Wakjir Pass enters into, and the road just is quite close by. So from the Karakoram highway, he has made a link right up to the Wakjir Pass. He will never go through that. He'll go through the Wakhan corridor. He's already ready with everything to go through the Wakhan corridor.
Next one, please. Pawan Kishore wants to know, why is there sudden change in Trump's stand against India?
Trump doesn't look at it that way. Trump looks at where I'm going to get money. So you are not ready to, if you're going to do a deal with him, it has to be a compromise of interests and both negotiate a deal. He wants everything for himself. It's not going to happen. So obviously, now today what he has said after, when he told Tim Cook that don't make it in India, Tim Cook had already committed Apple. So Tim Cook had already said that 2026 onwards, most of the items made by Apple which are going to be launched will be made in India. After he told Tim Cook don't make it in India, what does Tim Cook make a statement? Henceforth, from 2026, all iPhones for USA will be made in India. A nice slap. Now what has this champion gone and done? I won't call him a name that he deserves. He says anything coming from India or from Apple will cost 25% more. Thank you very much. Today it was costing you only 1,200 from India. It will cost you more. So now you'll be asking us, please buy it in India and send it to me from someone who's coming to USA. He's Chepor, the US citizen. This is the kind of blinkered fool he is, that you have a POTUS who doesn't understand anything of economics, and he thinks he has done postdoctoral in international economy.
Next question, Krishnamurthy Hunagun wants to know, did LCA Tejas play any role in Operation Sindoor?
Not to the best of our knowledge. Even if it has, we'll not talk.
Next one, please. Sunita Rao wants to know, Jai Hind, why doesn't Bharat come fast out in claiming our victory? Is it a policy matter or is it just the government decision?
सच्चाई छुप नहीं सकती बनावट के फूलों से.
खुशबू नहीं आ सकती कागज के फूलों से.
That's all I will say, Sunita Rao. Satellites don't lie. Even New York Times, which was prattling away what happened, ultimately had to bite the bullet and say, yes, Pakistan.
Anand Bakshi Zindabad. Anand Bakshi Zindabad. Next one, please. Vasu Iyengar wants to know, the Aam Aadmi here in the US is completely uninformed about Op Sindoor. Only know that Trump, CNN, etc. is spewing. Not sure how Tharoor et al. Touring will change this.
Tharoor and company are not going to go and convince Americans. They're only going to go and convince a certain group of Americans and probably put their case across at the UN, and that's it. Let's not expect them to go and change America.
I'd rather say that as Aam Aadmi, Mr. Iyengar, rather than hearing Trump and looking at CNN, why don't you get on to Twitter and Facebook? You will get the actuals there.
Krishna Kishore wants to know why China is giving its 6th generation aircraft to Pakistan. Money laundering to China by doing this deal?
Who knows? Is it a 6th gen aircraft? China claims a lot. This is this generation, that generation. Is it 6th generation?
Yeah.
Sir, I'm going to the next line. मैं इंतजार करूं. Next one. Siddharth Vijayan wants to know, why do we want the West to acknowledge Bharat win? I'm starting to like them underestimating India.
We don't want
We're not
them to
interested.
acknowledge our win at all. They are acknowledging it now themselves. We just said we won. They didn't agree. We didn't push anything.
Yeah.
Truth can't be hidden.
Thank you, Vamsi, for your generous option to become a YouTube member. Saurabh Sabarwal, thank you so much. Chin, US, Pakistan must have seen the damage done on their dumb and blind equipment. They must be thinking about us as there is their competition. New order in making. Sir, before you answer, I just want to make one mention. According to a document by Satyam Kushwaha, Strategic and Operational Impact Assessment on the Pakistani Air Force, the amount of damage that they have suffered is $1.5 billion. Viewers, at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, we'll get a much more detailed breakdown on that from me. It's going to be actually upwards of $7 billion. General Ravi Shankar, you can answer this question, and then after that, General Rajiv.
No, I mean, let's be very clear. We shouldn't get bothered about that. What all this thing? New order in the making. We've been talking of it for the past 2 years. It's now only now people have suddenly started realizing that what we are talking is sense. It's going to happen. Don't worry.
Next one, please. Sir, go ahead, sir. Please, sorry about that. Go ahead.
What this Op Sindoor has just underlined that there is new power which has risen in Asia, and it's not China. And as for me, I would not worry about China and Pakistan as much in the conventional domain as much as in the gray zone. That is what they are capable of, and they will try to do. So US has to decide how to deal with the new power. That is, it's in his, how he's going to deal with it.
Thank you, thought provocateur. Mia Gire Firbhi Tangri Uchi Munir Hare Firbhi Padvi Uchi.
जब से भारत की सांसों को बंद करने की बात हुई है, सारी सांसें झाड़ू लेकर उनके इंतजार कर रही है.
Thank you. That's a nice one.
Thank you. Yeah. Nice one.
Thank you, Ravindra Mysore, for your super sticker. Thank you, Saurabh Sabrawal. If ceasefire becomes please fire so that we can defeat our Munir twice, one as Army General and then as Field Marshal, history will be written. It never happens.
I mean, look, all this is nice, but I don't think we should break the ceasefire because we have other tools to sort out Pakistan now.
It was already in play, and like one person has said, जो फील्ड पाकिस्तान में जो फील्ड में मार खाता है वो फील्ड मार्शल बनता है. फील्ड मार्शल.
Akshar, thank you so much. EAM's book, The India Way, reveals China's emphasis on deception, deceiving the heavens to cross the ocean and making a sound in the east to then strike west are well known. How do we distinguish the real from fabrication?
That was the whole issue. We have been talking about the fabrication of these weapons for quite some time. It took a while for people to realize, but Operation Sindoor has actually shown it. The fabrication of his equipment.
Next one, please. Thank you, Rushit Reddy. Best advice for youth after seeing all this?
Yeah, just stick to the truth, seek truth, and study. That's it. That's it.
Next one, please. Munir P55, thank you so much. Thoughts on introducing more satellites to enhance our NAVIC? Seems military prowess will be determined by space domination.
This is an ongoing thing. It'll happen.
See,
it'll happen. Just be patient.
NAVIC gives you 1 meter resolution or less in the Indo-Pacific. How many more satellites you want? And it gives you in the whole of Asia less than 20 meters accuracy.
That's good enough. Yeah, it's a lot.
Phenomenal. What more do you need?
Next one, please. JBJP, thank you so much. How should Bharat deal with Trump's unpredictable behavior? Should we be silent or reply? Trump misbehaved with Zelensky, South African president, publicly.
Deal directly with the Wall Street. The Wall Street is not on the same page with him. Just leave Trump out of the picture, deal directly with the Wall Street. That's what you're doing. Did Tim Cook accept his advice? No. Even after 25% extra tariff threat, he did not listen to him. That's it.
Jay, thank you so much. Reuters yesterday asked Chinese ministry, your weapons are dud. Do you have anything to say? Minister was like, oh, India, Pakistan, both good neighbors of China.
Yeah, we saw
that video.
We showed that. Yeah, we showed that.
Yeah, we did that.
No, it wasn't Reuters, it was Bloomberg. Favin86, I think. Favin86, thank you so much. Help us invest in Indian defense growth.
Yeah, sure. Anytime.
Next one, please.
Anytime.
Harihara Putran, thank you so much for your super sticker. Next one. JBJP wants to know, one glory of this 4-day war are our domestically manufactured weapon system, Akash and BrahMos. What other indigenous weapon should we focus on for future? Lakshya also. Next one. I'm just answering for you, General. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Very straightforward. Thank you, Right Geek Project. Thank you all for your service. Your thoughts around BrahMos 2 and how does US or China have equivalent missile along with ADS to counter BrahMos?
No. Just started the Golden Dome, and a lot of our channels were going berserk that never done before. They forget the strategic defense initiative or the Star Wars, as it was called, of Reagan. That was also the same concept of Golden Dome. That fell off because it lack of that kind of technology, and it was costing billions. To be able to target it so that you don't have any fallout on yourself, you have to place things in space. It's not so easy. Now he's putting a Golden Dome across the entire globe to preempt so that he can hit those missiles when it is fired from China. Good luck to him.
Next one, please. Prasann Joshi wants to know, how come consulates continue in each other's countries? I don't know what you're asking.
It has continued even when we have been gone to full-scale war.
Yeah.
6571, it has continued. Our high commissions don't function at full scale. There's no high commissioner on either side.
Debashish Chatterjee, thank you so much. I heard a decent discussion about formation of private plus PSU consortium to global hiring of Indians who have worked in various projects to expedite jet engines and AMCA. Is it true?
Yeah, it'll come about. It's a matter of time. Things will, I expect after this, Operation Sindoor and the aftermath, things will change. We just have to be patient. A lot of things which we hear till now thought will happen will undergo a huge change.
Next one, please. Thank you, Garvesh. What can be done about non-starter HAL?
They are
Well,
putting things to work now.
yeah,
They needed
we
that push
just
from
hope.
the Chief of Air Staff. They are getting into public-private partnership now.
Yeah.
Next one, please. Thank you, Rajesh Damani. And that brings us to a close of today's program. A thoroughly enjoyable session. Thank you very much, General Ravi Shankar, General Rajiv Narayanan, and General Dushyant Singh. This came live to you from Gunnershot, Class, and P Gurus. And please, having seen this and seen the value, I hope you come back again every Friday around 9:30 p.m. Thanks once again, Generals. Namaskar.
No.
Namaskar.